so I can say hello.
Hey, what's up? My name is Vasco, and if you're here, most likely you're selling services on marketplaces, just like these ones. And I assume that you want to get more clicks on your services. And to do that, there's a bunch of things you can do, but one of the first ones is having a proper thumbnail. That's the little image that appears on these marketplaces when you're searching through the listings. And of course, you want to have one that stands out from the crowd because there's a bunch of different ones, and you want to have one that's properly optimized so that people will click on it. And in this video today, I'm going to show you how to actually create a thumbnail that makes people want to click on it. So let's jump into my computer and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so we're inside my computer and we're going to talk about service thumbnails, in specific, your service thumbnails. The first thing you need to know and you shouldn't forget is that people buy from people. This is extremely important. And later on, we'll have a video just on this, but don't forget that this is one of the most important concepts in sales in general, in life, is that people buy from people. And we'll apply that to building and creating our thumbnails. So with that said, having a face on the thumbnail, because again, people buy from people, will mean a higher click-through rate, a CTR. And you want a higher CTR because higher CTRs will in turn mean more sales. So our goal is to create a thumbnail, so a little piece of image that will increase the number of clicks that you had previously with another not so optimized thumbnail. So we want to create an image that has higher CTR values. But how do we actually do this? The first thing is that people look at other people's faces more than anything else. The human brain is wired or programmed to recognize and see faces everywhere, even when they aren't there. And here's an example. So, and I'm sure you've seen this, you can see faces anywhere. So for example, here in these light sockets, you can see two eyes and a mouth. Here in this sink, you can see two eyes and a nose, and here a mouth. So as you can see here, you can see faces virtually anywhere. So because people are attracted to people and to faces, and they recognize faces even in places that faces aren't there. So for example, here this tree, here this washer. As you can see, there are faces all around. And so because people recognize faces everywhere and their eyes move towards faces, if your thumbnail has a face in it, people will unintentionally and without even noticing gear their eyes towards the thumbnail with faces on it. So if you have a list of services with a bunch of thumbnails here, and there's this one right here which has a face on it, people will always skim through all these, but their eyes will be focused on the one that has a face, because again, people notice faces and their eyes move towards creating and seeing faces virtually anywhere. Also, it's important to know that showing your face means transparency, and because people buy from people, people also love to buy from other people that are transparent. And because you're showing your face, this to some extent gives the buyer some tranquility in the sense that you won't be scamming him, because you as a seller are putting yourself out there and showing your face, which means that you're serious about what you do and that you're not afraid to put yourself out there and show people who you actually are and who's behind the service that you're actually selling. So a face is both good for having people click on your thumbnail, but it also shows and reveals a side from the seller side, that you as a seller are transparent and are comfortable in what you're selling, and to some extent in the results you're providing, because you're not afraid to associate the service with your face. Because if you were selling a crappy service, most likely you wouldn't associate your face with it, because then the image of you and yourself as a person would be a bit frowned upon. So I hope this makes sense so far. But the main concept is again that people buy from people, that people see faces anywhere and everywhere, and showing your face means transparency, and people also buy from transparent sellers. Then you want to, in your thumbnail, again, these are both to increase the CTR, try to make people so curious that they need, this is important, need to click to know more. This is more sort of a YouTube style, and I have here an example. This one right here, as you can see, and this is a combination from both the thumbnail and the title here. Secret Diet of Jamaicans Rasta People, How to Live Forever. So this is a bold title. This is something that makes people want to click. So how do you actually live forever? Is this true? So this makes people want to click, and that's the feeling you want to invoke in people with your thumbnail and title. Of course, this is again a combination between title and thumbnail, but in the thumbnail as well, you can see these colorful plates with different foods, and you might think, so what kind of food is this here on the left, and what type of vegetables are these on the right? So you want to invoke the feeling that people would like to click and need to click to learn a bit more of, again, for example, what's this recipe right here. And as you can see, of course, there's a face in here, so these guys are doing everything correctly. So showing a face, again, this is a super colorful a picture, no actual text, which is something we'll talk about later on. But you want to try to invoke the feeling that people need to click to learn more. And I have here an example from one of the ones I use. This one right here is a perfect example. So this one says 30,000 with this. And again, remember that these appear usually like sort of this size on these marketplaces. So people can't actually read this too well. They need to click on the thumbnail to actually read it. But this is a perfect example of trying to invoke this feeling that you want to make people so curious that they need to actually click to learn more and to know more about what you're selling. This is the perfect one. So 30,000 with this. So people think, what is this? So I need to click to know what this is. So how did it make 30,000? And with what? With this simple sheet? What is this? So again, I hope this is making sense. You want to try and invoke this feeling in people of needing to know more, and thus incentivizing them to click on your thumbnail. And that's it regarding these two bullet points here. Now, what you shouldn't do in regards to your thumbnail. So the first one is having too much text, because again, these thumbnails usually show a bit small on these marketplaces. So keep in mind that, and this is a bad example right here. So keep in mind that texts like these will be hard to read, and people remember that these marketplaces have a bunch of different ones. So yours will be side by side with a bunch of others. So people will be skimming through all of these, and most likely this will be skipped, so they won't even read this. Of course, when they click it, if they click it, they will actually read it, but most of the times these small letters won't be read. And we can go over either examples on a lot of marketplaces. We can do Fiverr, for example. So right here, I'm skimming through. Of course, my eyes are being sent to this guy right here, and this girl, and this one right here, because my eyes are inevitably geared towards faces. That's just how the human brain works. So again, I'm skimming through here. So this text is virtually unreadable, so I can't read anything of this. My brain doesn't even process it. This one's so small right here. Again, I'm geared towards here, towards the face. But what you don't want to do is include a bunch of text. So let me see if I can find a bad example here. Let's go here on Upwork, for example. Actually, let's go here on Legit and see if we can find something right here with a bunch of text. So these ones are great. So this one's great right here. Shows a face. Boom, face, face, face. So my eyes are inevitably attracted to faces. Face, face, face. Again, another face, face right here. So for example, these ones are a good example of what not to do. So this has a bunch of text, super small. So and these guys can include this image inside. So when you click it, they could include it so as a second image, for example. But as a first one, to increase their CTR, they should have their faces here and not all of the available niches, because if people want to know the niches, they'll click on it and they'll learn about what the niches are. This one right here, also a lot of text. And again, these guys, I'm not bashing on them. They're extremely successful. They have a bunch of reviews, but if they wanted to maybe improve their CTRs a bit and get a bit more sales, what they could do is improve their thumbnails according to what I just talked about here. And just as a side note, this is what works for me and what I've seen work for other people. This might not work for everyone, and I'm not saying you should or you have to do this. Of course, you do whatever you want. I'm just, of course, trying to help. But yeah, basically, don't have too much text because people get lost and people won't read it here when they're skimming through all these thumbnails. Okay, so you can have all these text, but maybe inside your service. So on the second image, for example, you can have here a bunch of text. But in the actual thumbnail, the first one that appears, make sure you don't have a bunch of text, and make sure you, of course, you have your face. And yeah, that's it so far from what we've talked about. Then don't have logos, and this is something that for example, Fiverr has banned. I'm not sure about other marketplaces, but on Fiverr you can't have like the Fiverr logo right here. So in your thumbnail you cannot post Fiverr logos, or for example, this right here, this is not allowed by Fiverr. So having a guarantee symbol or 100% money back guarantee. So these logos promoting things and promising things look spammy, to be honest. And for me as a buyer, which I use these marketplaces to buy things, they look too spammy for me. And so yeah, you shouldn't, in my opinion, include them because it doesn't add anything, to be honest. And these logos, people are more or less immune to them right now and have been for quite some time. So having these logos just looks spammy, so I don't recommend you do it. This is tied in to some extent with these big letters of huge discounts, of huge promises, which again look spammy as well. And I'm trying to find if I can see some examples on here. Let's see Upwork, for example. Again, as I'm looking through these, the ones that pop out are the ones with faces, of course. So I can't seem to be finding one, but I can show you an example of what not to do. Is, for example, if I was using this one right here, if I were to write 50% off or something like special offer and make this like red, super red, and like this size, of course not so much like this, but boom. And what this causes is that you eventually need to reduce your face size and other important things that actually tell people what you're selling to fit in the big, huge, spammy 50% off special offer letters. And then with the, for example, a logo here saying 100% money back guarantee, and a logo again here, a logo below of the marketplace you're selling at, for example, a Fiverr logo here or an Upwork logo. So this all takes away space from the actual things that matter. And this looks spammy, and people most often won't even click on these because, again, people like to buy from people, and people that are transparent and that show their faces. And I'm sure this worked like years ago, but as of now, in my experience at least, having these spammy special offer, buy now, or there's some people that actually do this, so they say buy now. This looks spammy and doesn't work. So that's it in regards to what not to do. But now here's some things you do need to have again to improve your CTR. So other than the ones we talked about here before, so knowing that people buy from people, and knowing that you need to have your face in the thumbnail, and trying to create this feeling of needing to click on it. So like this one I showed you here, for example, before, the 30,000 with this, and the one on YouTube, for example. Let me see if I can find here more on Upwork. So actually none of these invoke the feeling that I need to click to know more. This one has a face, which is good, but none of these are making me feel that I need to click to know more, you know? So this one is a good example. For example, they're asking me a question and interacting with me as a buyer. So you need to grow your presence on social media. So is that a question? So yeah, I might need to, let's see, let me click and let's see. So that's the feeling that this person is trying to invoke, and which is something that I also, of course, I'm mentioning here, which is creating this curiosity feeling and this feeling to wanting to know more in regards to this person's service. And of course, she's showing her face, which made my eyes attracted to this thumbnail, other than this one and this one, for example, which has a face, but it's too small, so the face should be a bit bigger. Again, all these have faces, which is the perfect thing to have. This one, to some extent, feels to me a sort of YouTube-y style. So it has the face, but then it has this right here. So what is he hiding? What's this? It has a little weird glow, so I want to click to know a bit more. So there's some people that actually do this. Not many people do it, but the ones that do it do have a great success. So, but continuing on, as I was saying, after you have all of these, after you have your face and this feeling of curiosity to get people to want to know more and need to click your service, let's go over some things you actually do have to have, or I recommend you do have. So the first one is before and afters. This is great for graphic design or SEO results, for example. So for the people that sell website design, so they could have their thumbnail here, right here, with, for example, their face here. And then they can have, so for example, here, saying old, sorry for my lettering, so old, and then an arrow, and then new, and they showed how the new website looks like. So before and after, people love before and afters. So this one is a great idea for a thumbnail in regards to a graphic designer that does websites, does logos, whatever it is. And then for SEOs, I've done this in the past, which is again including your face, of course, and then having, for example, here a graph. I can even show you one of mine. We can see, for example, I don't have actually ranking graphs, but I have this one, which makes people curious because they see, SEOs in general like to see graphics and diagrams and how things work and different tactics. So SEOs tend to click these that have this sort of diagram. So again, I'm creating this feeling that people want to click to know more. In this case, they want to click to know what strategy is this that I'm showing here. Then I do the same right here. For example, I'm showing this, how this strategy works. And these ones are a bit unfocused. I'm not too sure why. But again, yeah, I don't have one with an actual SEO graph. But what you can do if you sell SEO is have something like this and that has a rankings, a graph. And some people do this, which is a great tactic to, but basically you want to have something to show people that instead of using letters to show, instead of saying, for example, instead of writing Instead of writing something like this, for example, I will rank your site higher in Google, just like this one. In 30 days, it went from position blah blah to blah blah. So instead of writing all of this, just post a graph, post an image, because people will not read all the things you write here. You can write this on your service description or on the second image, but for the thumbnail, make it super clean. Don't stuff a bunch of things in there. Make it super clean. So before and after, just a graph, because these things get people curious. And after you capture their curiosity and after they click it, you then can sell them and show them all the things you want and be super specific. Because if they're there, they want to learn more. So then you can be specific on what you're selling and what it is that you are doing. Then bold claims, this works great because again, this creates the feeling that people need to click to know more. Again, this is the perfect example of a bold claim. 30,000 with this. What do you mean 30,000? In how much time? So in 1 day, in 2 days, in a week, in a month? This creates this feeling. So it's tied up with this one right here, the needing to getting people curious and the feeling that they need to click on it. Let me see if I can find some examples right here. This one is mine as well, again, slow results with a question mark. But let's see here if we can find some more bold claims. So this one's good. This is from Sake. So powerful niche edits, the highest quality outreach on Legit. So he's saying these are the best ones on this whole marketplace. So this is again of course bold claim. Let's see here if you can find more bold claims or more claims at all. It doesn't have to be a bold claim. It can just be a claim, but bold claims tend to have more clicks. For example, this one is to some extent a claim. So power your map, your custom map, get Google Maps indexed faster. Again, a claim to some extent. And I think you do understand more or less what I'm trying to say. It's not having basically too much text and having sort of a claim on your thumbnail that gets people to feel somewhat interested in thinking to themselves, so how is this possible? This is such a big claim. So how does this guy do it? And that's what I mean with these bold claims. Then these graphics and diagrams for SEO services, which was what I was saying in just a second ago. It gets people curious because you're showing part of a strategy. And as I was saying, SEO people love to learn new strategies and know what other SEO people are using as strategies. And I'm sure if your niche is graphic design or music or whatever it is, there's some things that people in that niche are specifically attracted to. I would say that in graphic design would be this, the before and after. I'm not too sure. I know that in SEO is strategies and showing parts of diagrams and linking structures and whatever. So that's the example I'm giving here because that's the one I'm most familiar with. But I'm sure you can find some things that get people to click in your niche in regards to graphics and diagrams. Then there's something that people sometimes do, which is having a consistent style. Let me show you here an example of, for example, this right here is someone that has a consistent style. So all his thumbnails, as you can see, are black background and with white and gold lettering. So all these are the same style. So you know that when you're browsing, if you know this person, of course, when you see something that's black and gold when you're browsing through a website, you know that's from this seller. And this is good if you want to build a consistent brand. But the bad thing with this, and what I've seen that sometimes is not the best thing, is that when you want to change one of your thumbnails, you need to change all of them. And this person here is the perfect example. As you can see, if I'm not mistaken, previously he had all of his thumbnails sort of this style, and then he upgraded them to this, which has a bit more color, a bit more intense. But the thing is that once you update one, you have to update all of them. In this case, they're somewhat similar in style, but just keep in mind that this can get old, and when you want to change one, you'll need to change them all. So that's just something to keep in mind. And yeah, that's basically it in regards to your service thumbnails. What I use to create them is you just go to Canva. It's free, and that's what I do. I just build them out here, as you see. But yeah, that's it. I hope this was valuable to some extent because having again a thumbnail that increases your CTR is extremely important. And what I wanted to ask you right now is to go to wherever you sell your services on and take your thumbnail and first of all include your face in it, because people buy from people, never forget, and then try to make it curious enough so that people want to click more. And I know this is difficult to do because it's not always possible to write or to show something in your thumbnail that makes people want to click on it, but try and do it, because I'm sure you will be able to do it. But Again, put your face here, don't put too much text, maybe put a header and a small one right here, and then here another image, maybe with an arrow or circling something of some sort of a claim. Try to apply what we've talked about on here, and you can also see some thumbnails from people that are actually having success. So just go to any of the marketplaces and sort by more reviews, and you'll see the ones that are getting more success, and you can somewhat, to some extent, copy from them. This one is a great example. So this one is, for example, a perfect example. So it has his face, then what it does, Facebook audience, research, and then the Facebook logo. Super simple, super perfect, not too much text, not like this, for example. Even though these are not the same thing, this one has too much text. So this service right here could have the same thumbnail as this one right here. So it could have a face right here, and then just having Facebook Business Manager, and then all of these. So this is not necessary at all. This as well, this badge or this 100% money back guarantee is not necessary at all. This right here is barely readable, and this is not at all necessary. You can keep the logos, but just try to make it simple and keep it simple. And this video is maybe going a bit long, but if you have any questions, just go to this Facebook group here. I'll be inside answering and replying to you guys. So just go to facebook.com/groups/marketplace freelancer. And again, if you have any questions about this video, about any other video, just about freelancing in general, just hop on here. It's totally free. And yeah, I'll help you out. I'll personally help you out. There's, I think, 12 people on it right now. So anyone that asks a question in there will get my full attention. So I guess take advantage of it while you can, because it will grow fast. And when it becomes too big, I won't be able to fully help all the people. So again, if you want to join and want to have my full attention, you can go here, facebook.com/groups/marketplace freelancer. And yeah, I hope this one was helpful. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.